Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the TSLA nightly update show. It is Thursday. I usually don't do an update on Thursday. Figured there's something to talk about tonight, and I figured I'd make an exception. So we'll get to that in a second. And guys, do me a favor, take a second out, take a moment out, support the channel. Takes 1 second, click the like button. If you're joining us here for the first time, thank you very much for tuning in. This video will not be 15 minutes. It won't be 10 minutes. It won't probably be 6 minutes. Pretty nice and sweet and right to the point. Let's what's the word I'm looking for? Let's re-engineer this thing, right? First and foremost, I want to send, this is a very somber time of year. On September the 10th, 2000, my father passed away. And obviously, September 11th was the following day, the following year. So as you can imagine, this is a pretty somber time of year, not just for myself, but many, many Americans. Everybody remembers where they were when the planes hit the building and we were under attack. So take a moment out, if you haven't done so already tonight, and just say a prayer for the thousands, right? Thousands of families that were affected by the tragedy events, the murder of on 9/11, 2000 and 2001. Again, we will obviously never forget as long as we live. So let's talk about today, right? Let's talk about today. I really have no idea what the stock market did today. I really don't. And there's a good reason for that. Okay. If you've been kind of watching the broadcasts, have been in the webinar, you kind of know how long Tesla's been stuck in a pretty big range, right? Really, really big range. And it was very, very frustrating. Even yesterday, I was up like $4.50 on the trade, and they sold the stock off like literally $9 into the close, stopping me out break even, leading us to another venture of what the hell is going on? When is this thing finally going to get above the range? So I deal in facts. I deal with data. I don't deal with pom-poms or predictions or all that stuff. I talk about what is in front of me. And this is what we have known, right? Tesla has been stuck in this channel since May the 29th. If you've been watching this broadcast for a while, you know we talked about the June highs and ultimately the macro May highs, right? These are facts. We also know that in the last 2-3 weeks, we've been seeing 360, 365s, some 370 calls, some October 400 calls come in. Again, these are facts. We also know that Tesla coming into today's session was down about 12% for the year. Again, these are facts. And the idea that we're in a rabid bull market and the stock has not participated only made it more frustrating, especially to people who do trade Tesla on a regular basis. Again, I pretty much trade Tesla on every day. Some days they're just cash flow, and some days like today, and we'll get to that in a second, turns into something more. And the biggest frustration on Tesla in the last, 3-4 months was not the ability to get a trade, right? I mean, we've seen numerous days runs, reclaiming the 50-day moving average several times, 10, 15 points in a couple of days, but it just kind of fell short of the June highs. And before we even talked about the May highs, we needed to get back above the June, and that area there was 357.50s, right? We also knew that the June highs were going to be 367.71. And finally today, and this is where I was looking over my shoulder, I thought maybe my wife was about to stab me in the throat, or maybe a meteor is going to hit this house, or maybe hell is going to freeze over. Something happened today that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. Tesla finally got above its range. This morning, there was a sneaky pivot. Again, for all you guys who've been in the webinar for 16 plus years, you know there's something called the sneaky pivot. For all you guys who are joining us for the first time, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's okay. Okay, that's okay. But a sneaky pivot, to make a long story short, is where a stock comes out of its range, not at the top, not at the bottom, but at the middle. And you can see here, right? You can see this whole range here setting up here this morning. And the high here on this range was 352. It's got rejected like for 6 hours. Again, remember, every candle here is a 1 hour candle. So initially we got long below 353 and the stock took off, right? Took off. And what we saw was just an incredible amount of option flow come in. Forget about the 363, 370s. We saw a buyer come in for the October, right? For the October 360 calls for 5.5 million. And then we saw another buyer, and I'm assuming it's the same guy, 3 to 4 minutes later, came in for another 3.5 million. And then we saw Tesla, November $400 call buyer came in for 1.1 million. And in November, $400 call buyer came in, and that's, by the way, on the 11/21 expiration, came in with another 865,000. And this was a lot, right? A lot. And make a long story short, Tesla absolutely exploded. And this is now the highest close in the whole formation since May, right? And by the way, I also added on that dip into the 361 levels. You could see it closed at the highs. I'm assuming pretty much everybody in the webinar is long. Everybody's pretty big runners. But more important is what happens next. Is it possible it has a res day tomorrow? Sure. The stock is up 21 points. A healthy res day would be needed, right? A healthy res day would be kind of taking a breath. But let's be honest. Okay, all of us were long the stock, whether you have a rudder, full size, half size, whatever size you have. And if all you guys are watching at home that have been victim to this rangeless move on a macro level on Tesla, we want this confirmation. We want today's highs to be confirmed, and we want a monster move into the 400 level going in the next couple of weeks. This is just reality. Again, do we get everything that we want? No, but it'd be really, really nice, especially tomorrow is option expiration, is weekly expiration for those options. And if a stock is coming out of a range, usually, again, doesn't mean it's guaranteed, but usually a stock will follow through. Will it follow through tomorrow? Your guess is as good as mine. But now we have at least data to back up for a potential run on Tesla. So that's it. That's literally the update, right? That's literally the update. You got the semiconductors after a big move yesterday, the NVIDIAs of the world, they rested. That's fine, right? You got names are coming off the bottom, like an Apple and Amazon that got rocked, absolutely rocked yesterday, right? They woke up a little bit today. You got Microsoft showing a little bit of life, right? A little bit of life here. It's been rejected off the 10-day moving average now 3 days in a row. I'm going to keep an eye on it tomorrow. Obviously, I'm only really fixated on one stock, but I definitely want to keep an eye on it, especially option flow comes in. Stock like letter U, right? Stock like letter U is very, very odd. A guy came in with 4,000 calls of the weekly. Tomorrow's expiration, 47.5 weekly calls. I mean, the stock was at 43, 44 when it came out. Is there news coming out? Your guess is as good as mine, but it's definitely a name you want to watch. OKLO, we saw some $80 weeklies come in. Nice looking chart. It broke this, it broke this whole downtrend today. Keep an eye on this thing above today's channel tomorrow. And HIMS, right? HIMS is back above the 50-day moving average. If you are an avid watcher of this broadcast, you know above the 50-day is good, right? If HIMS can confirm today's channel tomorrow, I think there's a shot this thing really could go on a second-day run. But at the end of the day, folks, it's all about Tesla. This has been now 4 or 5 months in the making. Can this thing live with prosperity and give us that really, really big exclamation point to end the week? We shall see, said the blind man. We shall see. Guys, God bless everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Folks, just be a good person. It doesn't take a lot to accomplish that goal. You don't need to be the greatest person in the world. You don't need to be Mother Teresa. Just be kind. Just be kind and stick to yourself and to respect everybody and especially human life. Guys, God bless everybody. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Let's see if we can end the week on a positive note. Take care.